very few people are actually real agents. Very few people can legally actually take care of a client. And that's one thing that really pisses me off is a lot of people say, well, I'm a real estate agent, and it's bullshit because they're really not. And they are real estate people, but they don't have an agency relationship. So that's a perfect example of how it's all clouded out in the industry, because most customers don't know or even think to ask the questions about, oh, how are you representing me, right? So that simple thing, and the reality is the agents aren't really representing them. They're representing a transaction. They can't put loyalty or any allegiance to any party in a transaction. And how many sellers or buyers actually know that? I bet you it's less than 0.01% of true buyers and sellers know that the person that's representing them right now can't legally even protect them. So that's one of the missions that we're doing, is training and the evolution, kind of the awakening of the agent. Tom is the gentleman that's disabled that we have a closing scheduled for tomorrow that decided he's not moving, and would set off an entire chain of events, as you can imagine. To make sure that we had the records of it, because Diane's got me in the middle of this a couple weeks ago, and she goes, we got a problem. I've got our client, and real important to know from an agency perspective, he's our client. We represent him wholeheartedly. Everything we're doing is for him, protect him, so we have his back, right? So we're not transaction brokers, we're single agents, and he's our boy. And so whatever he tells us to do, we're gonna go do. And so step by step, what we did for Tom today was a lot, and this has been going on prior to today, but just today itself, emails started rolling around. The buyer side started getting very protective and threatening, and they're calling their attorneys. They've already engaged attorneys. They're showing up at the closing table, they're wiring funds, they're forcing the defaults. They're trying to put our client in a position where he's going to be in default of his contract and potentially get sued. Now I'm looking for something to muddy this water to kill this transaction, right? And because if these guys are going to be heartless pricks and try to force this paralyzed gentleman in a wheelchair out of his home, force him out on the streets with no way to get a place to live or buy a home, good luck sleeping tonight. There's no way. I can't see anybody with a real heart or mind doing this to somebody. So this is agency at its finest. So I'm going to call our attorney, get into our title company, try to find a gray area to throw some mud in the water, because they're going to threaten to sue our client, and we're going to throw different things out there as to go ahead, but it's going to be messy for you guys, and here's the reasons why, with the ultimate goal to get them to say, this sucks, no one's happy, but the deal's going to go away. This is the stuff nobody ever sees. This is the stuff nobody even knows happens, right? And this is why most agents in the marketplace couldn't even do what I'm about to go do, because they don't have the legal ability to represent a client. And this is true representation. This is above and beyond where we get zero compensation from this deal. We've got thousands of dollars invested in the sale, which is gone, right? With zero return whatsoever, except for goodwill and trust, because that's the real currency here. And so that's why agency is important. So we'll see what happens there. I think we might have found an angle here. What was the effective date of this contract? Because here's why. Because we've got one shot, okay? They deposited the escrow, and this is a long shot, but we're trying to save Tom here, right? If I can prove that they didn't put their escrow in timely, we can claim default on the contract, okay?
Oh, okay.
So it's real important to figure out what the effective date is. And what happened to that one is we went through a bunch of different angles to see what we have, because we have true representation for this customer. So we went through the contract to see what opportunities we have. We talked with our legal counsel. We figured out what the opportunities really were to get him out. And the long story short is the guy's not moving. He doesn't want to move. He can't move. He's not in a position to move. And he had a place lined up and he can't go. So when he tells us he's out and there's nothing we can do, all we can do is have his back. So we went through a whole sequence of events and legal situations where we just have his mind, we have his back, and we're gonna make this work. So end up story, we talked to the broker that represents the other side and just explained to her that we've got a problem. Her buyers needs to go find another house, our guy's not moving, and there's nothing they can do to make him move. I'm calling you about our wonderful transaction on 79th Way.
Oh no, how's it going?
Not well. And that's why I'm calling you, just to remind you that it's not going to go well. Long story short is he's not moving. He's got his reasons. He can't move out. He's in a wheelchair. He's paraplegic. He has no place to go. So no question about it. We have his back 100%. He's not showing up tomorrow, and we'll walk him all the way through the process and defend him in every way that we can. It's a function of just what's the right thing to do. And that's kind of what drives you, and what would you want to do if it was your dad or brother or cousin or friend. And it's our client, and we've got our back. We have every one of our clients' back. And that's one of the things we're most proud of, is the highest level of the representation that we as Century 21 Beggins and List with Beggins here. And that's how we earn the trust and the business of some of the best people in the entire business. We had a great experience last week with one of my agents, Lisa, over one of the beach offices. So we represented the buyer. Really important words, we represented the buyer. And it was not our listing, we had the buyer's side. So when we engage with a client, we take them to the highest level of representation, which is called single agency. That gives us 4 things: full disclosure, obedience, loyalty, and confidentiality. So because she had that superpower, if you will, for this negotiation, she was able to reach in and go talk to the listing side and really dig in and figure out what was going on, because we can work to the detriment of the other side when we're in an agency relationship with our client. So long story short, our buyer was willing to pay X dollars for this property, and they were very happy to do so. But because we were able to tear into real representation, we're able to peel back that onion to the layers and actually get our client that property for $42,000 less than they were willing to pay, right? So that's a significant amount of money, I don't care who you are. And if we didn't have that higher level of representation, there's no shot that we wouldn't have even been able to ask the questions to get the answer to the fact that we could save our client $42,000. So because most agents are out there just kind of screwing around and playing agent, but they're not really agents, they're allowing other people to look at this business and saying, look, these guys are getting paid a lot of money and they're not really doing shit. That's the challenge with the industry right now. So as a company, we're really taking this up. One of our mottos is empower, educate, and encourage. And we are all about making sure that we will go to the mat for our customers. And that's the fun part about it.